Good morning, everybody. Hi, my name's Dave. It's been a very long time since I have uploaded a video, since I've been on live stream. So yeah, we'll get into some of that today. But welcome back to the Dev Mentor Dave YouTube channel. Uh, Welcome back to myself, and welcome back to you. If you happen to be watching live, stumbled across this random channel that looks new, jump into the chat, say hello, and we'll kind of update everybody on what's happening, what's been happening, where in the world I went, all that fun stuff. Here this morning, it is morning for me here in Kansas City, Missouri. So, and I do have my cup of coffee, and I see Mel is here. It is fresh coffee, Mel. Absolutely 100% Costco fresh coffee. If you don't know what Costco is, it's like a big, uh, what do you call it? Membership, group store thing, warehouse almost, where everything you buy is designed to feed like 30 people. So, um, when you have four children and almost all of them are teenagers, you have to shop at a place like that. So, there you go. Hey Dan, good to see you. Welcome back. Hey, I think I saw. Did you get a new job, Dan? I think I saw that maybe on LinkedIn a while back. So that's awesome. Um, Mel, yeah, just YouTube today. I wanted to keep things simple, trying to get back into the groove here. And it's kind of funny. I decided to get back in the groove right before I may end up not being on here next Saturday, but we're gonna try to ease back into the to the things, all the things that we've been doing. Um, so yeah, we'll see how it goes here. Again, I'll give everybody an update. I want to give time, see if anybody else ends up jumping in. I don't know. Has anybody heard from Ming over the last few months? I haven't heard from him, so I want to know if he's been able to land a job or anything. Hopefully, he didn't give up. That's one of the things that I'm obviously. Anytime you have interactions with people online and you talk about hard things in life, like trying to find a job and things like that, and then if you fall off the face of the earth and disappear like I did, hopefully that doesn't impact people too badly. Thankfully, you guys are kind enough to jump back in here on YouTube, so I thank you for that. All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. So, what in the world happened? The last live stream I had, I think, was the beginning of October, and I thought that I had put a video up explaining that I was going to be gone at least for some period of time. I may have just mentioned it in the live stream. I didn't go back and look, but I think I at least mentioned that I probably wasn't going to be on for a couple weeks. Um, that couple weeks turned into a few months, unfortunately. Um, and some of that was honestly just kind of the laziness of not being in the groove of doing this every week, or every few days at least. And so a part of it was just laziness, quite frankly. It was kind of nice to have some of that time back for other things. Um, Not that I don't enjoy doing this. Obviously, I wouldn't have come back if I didn't enjoy doing this, but um, it's it definitely does take some time, and it definitely does take some energy and some planning. Hopefully, if you're doing it right. And so basically, what happened back in October, one of my projects, which was the biggest project that I had, really started to hit some difficulty and timeline issues and things like that. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of that. Honestly, um, it's a great project. I love the project. I love the client. I've had a lot of even offline interactions with the client and things like that. And it's definitely not like I don't hate the situation necessarily. I hate the fact that it was as difficult as it was from a time constraint standpoint. But yeah. So basically, what happened was we had a lot of stuff at work going on. that was just eating a lot of my time, and really nights, weekends, pretty much any free time I had, I was spending not just leading the project, but even actually, trying to jump in and help develop things and stuff like that. And as you have witnessed, more than likely, if you've seen any of my other videos where I've written code, that's not necessarily a good thing for me to be jumping in, writing code these days. Of course, I use a lot of AI these days for a lot of the stuff that I work on, even code wise. So I'm sure it was better than if I had been in there all by myself, trying to figure out what was going on. But just a lot of things, really mostly around that specific project. Just a really, really big project with a lot of moving parts and things like that, and just a lot of time that was taking up all of my free time. And I think I've been pretty clear on the channel that, unfortunately, as much as I enjoy doing this, unfortunately, this is probably the lowest ranking thing in my life, most likely. And it's just because, this is something that I would love for it to bring in some money, but it doesn't bring in any money right now. Part of that's because I don't have the time to put into it, right? Like, if you're going to grow a YouTube business, you have to actually put lots of time into it. And at the end of the day, the ultimate goal for this is to interact with you guys and to help where I can, to provide some advice and even training and teaching things that I know, and even learning myself from you all, things that you know. So basically, what started off as hopefully just a couple of weeks or a few weeks, turned into really several months of pretty intense work and quite honestly just exhaustion from that. And so I wanted to take some time and not just jump back into this as soon as that kind of died down. It has died down. It may pick back up. I'm over a number of projects. I won't tell you how many in case any of my my clients are watching. No, I'm just kidding. They all know I run multiple projects, but the problem with that is if one of them blows up or has issues or things like that, that really starts to eat into other time. So I'm still very busy at work, obviously, and things like that, but I'm going to try to get back into this because there's things that I want to discuss. There's things that I want to try to work through with us as a group. And honestly, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that's going to look like. Over Thanksgiving, I talked to my brother around some potential ideas of things that would help him in his business that we could develop here, either as a group or that we could develop here on the channel. Worked on a couple different things, but nothing really substantial came out of that. And so I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. Obviously, if there's ever, questions and conversations and things that you guys want to have, that's top priority for me, because that's what I started this thing for, right? Was to try to help you guys. The old tagline, helping junior devs go from learning to code to launching successful careers, right? And that landscape has changed a lot over the last year, especially with the advent of AI. But something that I want to encourage junior devs specifically is don't just jump into the bandwagon of AI. You need to some degree, because you need to know how to use the tools. You need to know ways that it can benefit you. But what the people that I'm seeing that have the most success from AI are people that understand at least the fundamentals of how to code. My 15-year-old is learning to code right now. He's actually taking classes at our community college while he's in high school. He wants to graduate with his associate's degree when he graduates from high school. So he's only a sophomore. So he's got a few years, which is good. But I told him, look, if you can learn the foundations of coding, then you can use AI more effectively. And that's what we're seeing both in our business and that's what I'm seeing a lot online, is AI has really taken over a lot of code writing. but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're developing better products. And there's so many more things that go into developing a good product that we need to be very careful. We need to make sure that we're knowledgeable about what we're doing. So there's aspects of that that I want to bring in back into the Dev Mentor Dave channel, where we're actually um, doing some coding, some real coding. Some of it maybe we'll lean on AI here and there just to show you how to do that. But I recently got contacted by one of my personal clients. This is not a paid client, a paying client. This is a client that actually, technically, I own a little bit of the client. This is a client that I found years ago. They were doing a campaign on Indiegogo. If you have any idea what that is, it's one of those like fundraising websites. So they were doing a campaign on there, and I thought the product was interesting and cool at the time, and so I think I just donated like a few dollars because that was just a donation thing. And then a few years after that, they actually did one of those things where you can buy stock in the company, which you never know. I mean, that's a shot in the dark from a financial gain standpoint, but it's another way to kind of feel a part of something, even if you're not really a part of the company per se. So I did invest a few dollars in that, and through that actually ended up contacting them about their website, because their website was out of date and it wasn't really working very well, and so for the last several years, I've been sort of helping them maintain their WordPress website. And I'm just not a big fan of WordPress anymore. I know last year we kind of did that thing where we showed how you could build a front end with the WordPress APIs and things like that. And I'm still not against that. I actually still like WordPress. There's just a lot of things I don't like about WordPress. And these days, I would still build a very simple website. But if you want anything more complicated than basically a brochure website, I just wouldn't even build it in my opinion. And so I recently had some updates that they reached out for, and and I was just reminded once again how much I really don't like working in WordPress. So I asked them if they would be okay with me potentially building out a new website for them. And part of the problem is they want to get in it and update things, and they've done some updating of content and stuff like that, but it doesn't always, it's just not intuitive for them. As much as WordPress really was designed to be intuitive originally, it's just not that intuitive for them. So I want to build something that's going to be easier for them to manage, and still give them a much better, more updated design, things like that. So I think one of the things that I want to do here on these Saturday live streams is jump into that project together. Again, we'll probably do a mix of planning. We'll do a mix of discussing what we want to build, how we want to build it. We'll do a mix of doing actual coding. We'll probably bring in using AI and showing some of the different ways that we can do that. So I've got lots of different things that I want to give. I want to give you a good mix of not just we're going to be sticklers and code this from scratch. And I don't want to go to the other side and just be sitting here the whole time watching, Claude Code do its thing, and really not be engaged in what's going on, right? So there's some things that I'm thinking about that I want to do with that, and I'd love to bring you guys along on that process. Maybe that's something that I will do more than just Saturday, because I'd like to work on it other than Saturday and get it done. Probably a lot of that extra time will be more Claude coding than me coding. But those are some of the things that I think would be good to do on the channel, and I think it would be awesome to get some feedback from you guys either live or maybe in the comments section regarding where do we go in that process, right? So get your thoughts on what you think is important for us to do on the homepage. Get other people's ideas and not just mine, and not just, Claude's or ChatGPT or something like that, right? and not just use a sales framework or some, things like that. We will build it in Laravel because that's honestly my favorite thing to build in. I love Laravel. We're gonna do Vue as well because I just hate React. Even though everybody else loves it, I'm sorry, I just can't do it. But no, I can. I can. In fact, actually, at our business, we've always been a Laravel Vue company, but we're starting to use more React in some of our projects. So it is what it is. It's we can use all kinds of things. We could use Livewire too, although I've not really messed with Livewire that much. So that's where we've been. That's some of my thoughts on where I'd like to go here in the future. Um, Man of taste. Thanks, Dan. So hopefully, hopefully we can get some more consistency. Hopefully this is stuff that you guys will find interesting, and hopefully we'll be able to find a way to make this engaging for everybody. I want to find a way that we can engage a little bit more. Discord just really isn't my thing. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm just not engaged in there. Um, and I am looking at some other side business things. Um, One of them might be doing some training, um, more for businesses than for junior devs specifically. So that might take a little bit of time. So I want to kind of ease back in. There is a chance we have a class at church once every quarter or so, and next week is technically that week. I don't know that we have anybody signed up, so I may or may not be live next week. I would say we'll plan on not being live, but if I can be live, I will. Um, but anyway, so that's where things have been. That's where I'm thinking about going. But again, as always, I am super open to any feedback, any questions, anything that you guys would prefer. I may or may not do it, but I want to hear what you guys are interested in. Obviously, I want to build things that we can engage in here in the chat as well to make sure that it's not just me sitting here talking all the time. So, so there you go. I know there's been a few things here. I've kind of been ignoring it. Uh, let's see. Dan says that kind of thing also eats mental bandwidth for side things. Absolutely. Um, that's true. Going back to, I think you're talking about just all the extra work for work. um, even when you do have the time, especially when you go through a period of time where it's just constant work, it is a mental drain. It is, um, it's a drain on you mentally, and that becomes a drain on you physically. And I don't think we always recognize that reality. And so I do want to be careful not to jump into this stuff too fast or make too many promises about what we're going to do, obviously, because I hate breaking promises. So we're trying to keep that to a minimum as much as we possibly can. But yeah, I mean, it's draining, and it's draining more than just the time that you're doing it. I think that's why, honestly, I could have come back earlier, and I think that's part of why I didn't. It was just nice to not have the extra thing on my plate. Again, as much as I enjoyed it, just not having that extra thing, it does. It takes away bandwidth, and having some time to kind of refresh from that is important. And I think that's important whether you're doing something like this on YouTube or whether you're doing a side project. Like I said, I've started several little side projects now. Honestly, the only way that I can do that is because of the advent of AI and how much I can lean on it, with my current knowledge and skill set. So that's the only way that I can even do that without feeling burnt out, and work being much more normal helps with that too. So yeah, it just kills your bandwidth for anything. And honestly, it hurt a lot of bandwidth in other areas of my life, right? So not even side gigs, but family relationships and hang on. Thought I was gonna sneeze. Oh well. Family relationships, availability and things like that for church and stuff. Um, it's draining. It's draining, and it has a huge impact on you, on more of your life than you think that it does. So that's um, that's something to really keep an eye on in this industry specifically. We don't always recognize the signs of stress, because we're not out there doing a physical job. It's a mental thing, and so it affects all of us differently too. So it's good for us to recognize how stress is affecting us specifically, um, and get feedback from others and let them speak into our lives so that we know when we need to maybe take a step back from some things. So sometimes stress is good. Sometimes it's good to push through it, and it's good to build some character in that process. I don't think that's necessarily wrong at times, but yeah, at times you gotta step back from some things. So Mel says maybe you're thinking too big. We might not need a big spectacular project, but we might need to understand how to work with others. Soft skills are underrated. They are certainly underrated. And I'll be honest with you. I've worked with a number of people, and there are some really, really, really good developers that don't always work well in certain structures, right? They may be a really great, like, on their own person who can just knock stuff out. But if you stick them in an environment where there's maybe more people, shoot, I was on a project one time in my career where there were like 40 devs, 40 or 50, and most of us were contractors, so 40 or 50 devs, uh, most of them on one big client. We had like three or four different projects, smaller projects that were part of a bigger engagement with this client. So that's a lot of developers working, and that's not a good environment for everybody. Some people did a great job of interacting and sharing information and working with one another without getting frustrated with one another, communicating well between one person and another, not just what they worked on, but just having good communication here and there. And some people do well at that. Some people want to go off and do things their own way. I've worked in environments where a leader of a project literally went and completely not redesigned, completely rewrote what they had in a different language over the weekend because he wanted the team to move to that new language. Um, I think they went from PHP to Node, if I remember correctly. So, like, not everybody's a team player all the time. So yeah, being able to work in a team environment, being able to interact with clients, that's a that is a soft skill, and that's something that not every dev has. Not everybody that works in the company that I work for is somebody that we necessarily want to put in front of a client. Not because they're a bad person, not because they're not knowledgeable. We only hire senior level developers, so it's not about that. It's just they don't have the soft skills, and maybe don't even have the desire to interact with a client in that way. So it's really, really important that depending on your specific area of engagement, that you learn the soft skills that you need to do well. And I think gone are the days of the mathematician level developers. We don't live in an era where developers can just hunker down, be their own person, and not have to engage. Even though there's a lot of remote work right now, we still engage with each other through video chats, through regular chats, and email. A lot of those things can be taken out of context, can be misunderstood. We can read in to the words and things like that, specific attitudes, if we're not careful. And so yeah, learning some of those soft skills, absolutely. We can talk about some of those things. I think they're underrated for the people that don't want to work on them. They're very important for the people who are trying to find the right people for their companies. So definitely Definitely something that we should consider as we look at that. And again, I think maybe some of those soft skills could be part of that teamwork, could be part of that feedback on a project like this. So we'll see what that looks like. You'll have to tell me, Dad, Dad, wow. You'll have to tell me, Dan, if the man of taste was because we're using Vue or Laravel, or because my company's starting to use more React. I don't know. It's just kind of out there. So I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the compliment that I'm a man of taste. I wouldn't agree with that. My wife would not agree with that because I have. She says I have the taste buds of an 8-year-old. I'm getting better though. I'm getting better slowly. It's taking a long time. Mel says Discord is dangerous. My eyes are just getting horrible. I need to get bifocals and I just haven't done it. There we go. Whew, I can read now. Haha, nifty. Oh, but that affected this screen. That's annoying. Okay. Let's see. Discord is dangerous right now. I'm looking into other options to talk with people in the world. Matrix looks interesting. A protocol and a stoat, but there's always Zoom if needed. Yeah, exactly. And that's something I've thought about too, is maybe doing Zoom, some sort of membership type thing on here. Again, not trying to like get people's money necessarily, but you only get a certain number of people on Zoom. So I thought about doing something that here for the channel just so we could have even some more like vocal interaction potentially if people wanted to do something like that. So I'm thinking about a lot of things. I want to find the best solution for us from a time standpoint and things like that. I think I really am leaning towards removing Discord. I just I don't think there's a lot of I'm not on there, and I think since I'm not on there and interacting with people, I don't think it really serves much of a purpose. I've thought about building out kind of our own thing, maybe where we could put the live stream in it and have a better chat, have a way for people to maybe even chat vocally. So I don't know. Maybe there's some projects around that we could build together and get something working. I don't know. I think there's lots of different things, lots of different ideas. But I definitely want to be careful. I want to go slowly. I would love to do some other actual videos just to kind of help promote the channel some more. I don't know if I'm going to have the time to do that though. But if I do have the time to do that, I would love to know maybe some topics that we could cover. Even if it's coding stuff, I'm okay with that. I didn't necessarily want this to become a tutorial channel, but I'm kind of open to anything. I would like to see the channel grow this year in 2026. I think a lot of the things that happen because of my availability and really hurt the ability to reach out to more people. And so I want to not just necessarily build a brand, but I want to make the channel something better and more useful and helpful for people, not just in the live streams, but I want to get better at putting some videos up. I'm working on some ways that I think will help me do that faster. So we'll see what that looks like in the days ahead. The biggest thing is time constraint. I just want to be very careful to make sure that I don't overpromise and underdeliver from a time standpoint here. I want to make sure that we still have the live streams. We may only do the Saturday live stream moving forward and try to get up some videos, kind of like we did early on in the process. And that's when we really got a lot of the members that we have, not members, but the followers that we have. So I'm kind of looking for lots of different things. So if you need, if you have ideas, certainly send them my way. Yeah, that's interesting one, Mel. I've looked at school. That is one thing. Like you're mentioning, they're more focused on learning, but they create rooms with a few lessons if needed. People often put their YouTube videos on there in the lesson. Yeah, so I haven't looked too deeply in that one. It keeps coming up on my Facebook feed. So I haven't really dug into it yet. I'm my big thing is I'm hesitant to do anything that's going to cost me money at the moment. AI is pretty much eating up all of my money at the moment, because I use it a lot. So there's that. Dan says vocal interaction would be fun, like lug. What is lug? Well, lug live. Shopping bag. No. Lug. If you have a link or something, send it to me, because lug just brings up like shopping bags or bags. Lug live stream, maybe. Nope, that's shop lug lug LUG. I don't know. Let me know what. No, you know what that is, Dan, because I don't know what LUG is. Recapping things. Yeah, I don't. Oh, Linux user group. Oh, okay, used to be. Gotcha. All right. User group. Boop boop boo. Access control. Yeah. I mean, one nice thing about Discord is you do have the ability to do like an audio thing. I would want it to be if. Here's the thing. I would want it to be something that I could potentially feed into the live stream too. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just something that we get on and it's not a YouTube live stream. Maybe it's just a small group thing and we chat about stuff. That's very similar to what I'm looking at doing with some with local businesses around AI. So maybe that's more of a direction we want to go. But yeah, we can look at that. Local hangout and meetup. Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, that's kind of my thoughts of where we want to go, where I want to go with the channel. It's still very open ended. I just want to get some more consistency. Yeah, Zoom does let you record. My biggest fear about like Zoom is the quality. Um, that's what I'm just not sure about. I really need to get a new hard drive or like a secondary hard drive because I've got like 20 gigs of hard drive space left, and if I get back into doing any sort of video editing, that's going to eat up my hard drive space really fast. Um, and most of that's really just like projects and things from work and stuff like that. So I need to do something there, but yeah, so that's the plan. Again, I'll keep everybody updated. I don't know for sure. Let me just check and see if I can tell. Do, 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 do. Let's see if I can tell. Yeah, there's a high likelihood that we will have the live stream next week, and I think so. The live stream next week, we'll take a deeper dive into what I want to do with the website. I'll actually show you real quick. Um, Maybe get your feedback. They don't watch my YouTube channel, so you can feel free to tell me what you think. Um, do 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 do. Here we go. Okay. Transition. It's been too long. Okay. So this is the website that I was talking about earlier. It's a company called Solar Roadways. They have really these pretty cool like solar panels that well, you can see them here. They're in a grid right now. They're working on several different options, and they're on iteration 5. So this has been like literally, I think I've been connected with them for 6 years, something like that. So like they've been around for a while. They've done a lot of work with government grants on different military bases and doing some installations and testing and things like that. So very, very cool product. focusing mostly on the obviously, the original idea was, let's replace all the roads in America. But I think more they're focusing on like things like this: walkways. I almost said parkways, driveways. For like residential or parking lots. One cool thing about them is you could like rearrange your whole parking lot if you wanted to make different, even like add, let's say you have like uh, two spots that are dedicated as handicap spots, right? And you can because you can control the lights in them, you could make a third one a handicap spot, because all of that just displays on the ground, on the road itself. But very, very cool. I was actually just on a video chat with Scott here a few days ago. So they just recently launched a new funding campaign. So if you're interested in this, feel free to go take a look at it on WeFunder. So they're raising money kind of to move into sort of the last phase of this process, and that is into production, right? So they've got a company that has been trained on how to build them. They've got a nationwide company that has learned how to install them. And so they're kind of like right there on the cusp. They just need to raise money to be able to kind of really step into that strongly and be able to offer it commercially and eventually residentially. So, but as you can tell, this website's been around for a number of years, and I did not build this. Somebody else did. I took over for them several years ago. But simple things like we updated this comment section, right? And so they're taking comments from the from people who are investing in this. They're taking comments from like this, what investors say. So that's cool. But they're taking those and they're putting them over here. One of the questions, I literally just got a question from Scott yesterday. Is there any way? Go away. That was weird. Is there any way to change the font size in this? I mean, there should be a really easy way to do that, right? Or there should be just a way for us to set it at the right font size so that all of them are the way we want. But we probably won't look at the back end of this on the live stream. There are literally at least 20 plugins in this website, and there really isn't that much that it needs to be able to do, right? And so I want to give them something cleaner, something better. Maybe even rearrange the content so that it makes more sense for the different types of people who will be coming to view the website and interact with it. Yeah, exactly, Dan. There are lots of dragons in that back end. And again, this is one of those things like, you can't blame the owners for this necessarily. They're spending all their time on their product. And when this was built, this looked cool. This was a nice website, and we've done updates, and I've wanted to rebuild this for a while. It's just not having the time. But we live in a day where AI makes things a lot faster, so I think that will help us do that a little bit better. As you can see, the car is actually driving on there. So they did a bunch of tests. That's actually glass. It's a very thick glass on the top with I forget how many LEDs they have on there. I want to say 300 LEDs in there. So there's lots of really cool stuff. Go take a look at it if you find it interesting. Obviously, I think it's an interesting idea. To be honest with you, I'm not like a save the planet type of person. I think we should be mindful of it, but I'm definitely not I'm not on board with this company because I just want to see, because I think solar is the future necessarily. I think there's some really cool things about it. They have built-in heating elements. so that in the winter, you know, they're up in Idaho, if I remember correctly, um, and like they get some snow. They get a good bit of snow, and they've tested it. They have it. They've had a testing site for years and years, and so some of this stuff is even out of date. But here's some of the testing. So testing submerged moisture testing. They did. I think this is like impact testing over here. Um, oh, this is an interesting. I think we can't really see that. So I'm kind of going way off topic here, but that's okay. So this is so here's their panels that they've got installed here. This is a tire, and it simulates weight and traffic going across these because again it's glass. You know, is this we have to make sure that this is something that is actually going to hold up. And they probably say it here what they did simulated 15 years of truck abuse in 3 months. A weighted 9,500-pound truck tire made over 1 million passes. No panel breakage and no wear. Like, just think about that. Like to me, it's more of a, it's less of a like what is it, environmental thing, and more of an economic thing. Like, how bad are our roads? You know, and obviously they're gonna get broken. Electronics are gonna fail. You know, things like that. They don't last forever. But I mean, to be able to take that kind of abuse is pretty cool in my opinion. So, anyways, and that was I think that was SR2, and they're on SR5 now. No, it's SR3. SR3 panels. Um, this was so like this page hasn't really even been updated since um, SR4, and they're on SR5 now. SR5 uses an aluminum back instead of glass on both sides now. So here's a prototype. Anyway, I think it's a really cool project. I think it's a really cool company. They're Scott and Julie are really nice people. You know, the old statement, salt of the earth, you know, type of people. So if you find that interesting, go check them out. But this is going to be, there's a lot of content on here. And part of it's going to probably be whittling it down to where we give the right information that is current, and give them the ability to be current. I think there's, yeah. Like there's some old interactions and things like that. We got some videos on here. They've been featured on multiple things, even going way back. But yeah, check them out. Solar Roadways. That's the project that we're probably going to do. And again, this will be a conversion from. This is something that I helped them put together a while back. So I think there's going to be a lot of things that we can do. I'd love to even use AI to do some it's probably some content generation, but also, you know, images and things like that. I think it'd be cool to be able to kind of update a lot of that, try to keep it in the same vein. So yeah, there's lots of different applications for it. Where do they got? Where's the heating? There we go. Yeah, so here's a picture of their test site. That is a real photo of the snowfall there, and yeah, this is the heating elements keeping it pretty much clear. I think there's a little bit of snow like here in the metal tracks between the panels, but yeah, for the most part, that's a pretty dry surface. So yeah, the only thing I don't know about is driving on them in the rain. I think they're textured. If I remember correctly, I think they're textured, so I think that helps with that as well. But anyway, this is probably the project that we'll end up doing. So I'll be definitely looking for some feedback on and ideas on design, ideas on content. So what we'll probably do is actually I've given it's solarroadways.com. So if you guys want to take a look at it and see what things that you would change, and not even just change, like start from scratch. Like if you're starting from scratch, what are the things that you think would be important for um, for somebody who's coming to look at this website? If you're coming to look at this website, what is important to you? What do you want to know? What do you want to see? All those types of questions. So I think that will be something that we can do as a group, and that we can do live on Saturdays, and I can still work on some on the side as well, probably, because there's lots of different options. Like we talk about doing content management, right? There's lots of different options even within the Laravel world of handling content. We could build something ourselves. That's what I tend to lean towards, because I only want to build content. I only want a content management system that manages stuff that needs to be managed, right? So maybe like the if we're gonna have a testimonial section, you know, that's something that needs to be manageable, so that we're not having to push code up for it, right? But something like a homepage doesn't necessarily need to be manageable. You know, maybe there's pieces of it that do, but the content maybe doesn't need to be manageable from day in day out. But a blog is something that we're definitely going to want to have more access to. Maybe press releases, you know, things like that. So there are going to be aspects that that I think we can find a good mixture of content management versus static content on the websites. So yeah, that's what I would like to do with this project moving forward. I will probably, I shouldn't say that. I would like to put together maybe a few videos, quick videos, talking about the project and what we'll be doing, and inviting people to take a look at the website, inviting people to share comments on those. I think that would be probably a simple way to get some videos up, get some engagement, maybe help build the channel a little bit more as we get into it. So we'll see what I can come up with time wise, and what I can do to do that quickly, so it doesn't eat up too much of my time. But yeah, so my goal is to try to do a little bit more this year with the channel, try to build it up a little bit more. Obviously, if we can we're monetized, so obviously if we can get a few dollars out of it, that's great as well. But I want to actually do something with this, and I think as we got through, you know, half of last year, the latter half, it was very much a lot of the same things repeated over and over again. And I'm not saying that like to throw Ming under the bus, but he was about the only one asking questions, and they were often very similar. And so I want to try to be a little bit more planful in what we do this year with the channel. So that's the direction I'm going. Hopefully we can do that in a way that is effective and helpful and doesn't stress me out, and is enjoyable for you all, and informative. So Dan says, yeah, I've been wrestling with this for a project myself, looking into a lot of stuff like Strappy, Pocket Base. Yeah, but I'm just unsure how I feel about those products. Yeah, that's my thing. I don't want to get too locked into specific packages for stuff like that, right? Because at the end of the day, everything becomes unmaintained at some point. Laravel is probably not going to be unmaintained. It's a massive product now. But, you know, there's lots of packages that are not maintained anymore for Laravel that do things or did things, and they're just not updated anymore. And that's something that's important to keep in mind. How much of it is stuff that we could just build that doesn't need to be updated? It will just kind of work with future things from Laravel, and how much of it has to be updated on a consistent basis. So that's part of that struggle that I'm trying to figure out. And a lot of that really comes down to planning. You know, planning and communication with the client. I will do some some reaching out, obviously, to the client around what I want, but I'm going to try to put together some ideas ahead of time with them. Obviously, they're working on their fundraising campaign, so I don't want to bother them too much. But yeah, so I think over the next few weeks we'll try to round out what this looks like, and try to move forward with that. So Mel says plain HTML and CSS doesn't need updating that often. 20-year-old websites with float and tables are fun to peek at. That's very true. That is very true. There are some websites that have been up for a very long time, and they have not changed. I mean, shoot. What is that one? Yes. I don't know. You probably know about this one, but Craigslist. Craigslist has basically been the same visually, at least, for 10 years, 20 years. I don't know. I don't know when Craigslist started. Uh, let's see if Claude knows. What? Let me in. Let me in. Continue. Okay. You can tell Dev Mentor Dave hasn't been on here for a while. Let's see. When was Craigslist launched? And Mel says beautiful. 1995. Craig Newmark, email distribution list, expanded web-based service in 1996. I was not even out of high school when this thing became a website. And I don't think it's changed. I wish I could see what did the first version of Craigslist look like. I just want to see if we can find text base color. Good old Wikipedia. I bet it's just a table. Probably. Same logo since 1995. Is that what's there? Craigslist. Pretty much. They added the peace sign at some point. Yeah, I don't see. I don't know if anybody knows, but it pretty much looks like it's been the same website ever since the beginning. Maybe some icons have changed, although I'm not 100% sure that's true either. Um, but yeah, but people still use this. People still use this. Let's how much traffic does do they get per day? Just to see if we even know that. Estimated around 50 million unique visitors per day globally. 50 million unique visitors per day globally. Now that's an estimate, obviously, but that is crazy. And yeah, it's just well, I mean, shoot. That's true. That's a very true thing, Mel. How many of those visitors are actually bots? Um, let's take a look here. They're very basically now see this is interesting as I always find this fun. So they're a little bit mobile friendly. I mean, it's not great, but they're a little mobile friendly. But yeah, let's look at we've got a div, another div that doesn't seem to impact it. Oh, iframes. They've got iframes. Local storage. This is interesting. It's iframe is just a script to manage local storage. Okay. Another script. Where is the body of this? Here's search. Oh, that's interesting. Why does that take up the whole? Ah, okay. So there's the header in the main section. Inside here, we've got a form that is hidden, apparently. Search results, feedback. Where's the... Okay, so this has margin. The header's up here. Where's the... That's interesting. Where's all this jazz? Inspect. Inside this form. Okay. That's one way to do it. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that is funny, Mel. So like they're using updated-ish code. Um, but yeah, they've decided this is their look, right? This is their look. This is their brand, really, at this point. So they're sticking with it. So that's funny, man. Just to think that they get that much traffic, right? That much traffic. And again, to your point, Mel, a lot of it's probably bots. So there is that, but yeah, so old isn't necessarily wrong or bad. But I think for a lot of modern things, especially if you're dealing with cool new robotics or cool new products like solar roadways or something like that, probably would be good to have a site that's a little bit more up to date. They do have Instagram, so they post pretty frequently on Instagram actually, and they have a newsletter. But yeah, so that's going to be the project that I would like to work on. Um, I think we're going to wrap up for today. We won't do the 2 hours. As we get into other things, we'll probably jump back into the 2 hour live stream when we've got more content and things to talk about. But I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about where my mind is, where it has been, where my mind is for the site or for the channel going forward, and hopefully we'll be able to do things a little bit better in the future here. I am wearing a t-shirt for, I go out every summer with some friends and we play board games over the weekend. And so I have a shirt made every year. This is from our last year. No, this is from 2 years ago. So you guys know I'm a board game junkie. I think I've brought that up before as well. And I actually have a board game night tonight. So if you're in the Kansas City area, hit me up. I know neither of you two are. So I know that's not going to happen. But if you ever end up in Kansas City, hit me up. We'll play some board games. But I've got that going on, so I need to get things set up for that. But yeah, 2 hours is a long time, Mel. Although I find I'm usually pretty good at filling an hour's worth of time if I have something specific that I want to talk about. So it's 1 hour is not too hard, and then especially if you're engaging with something else, 2 hours can go pretty quickly. So thanks, Dan. I am alive. That's how I should have started, right? You know, the rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I am still alive, and I do apologize again, guys, for not giving some more clarity around what was happening, especially as things got more extended. I should have communicated a little bit more effectively, and I apologize for that. I will try to make sure that communication is better, but also that the channel is better going forward than we kind of were there at the end. Again, that's my fault more than anything, just for not really having a great plan as to what I want to do or purpose in it. And I think a lot of that was just some of the stress, not wanting to take the time to do that. So we'll try to do that a little bit better. I might even let AI help me out with that a little bit as well. So we'll see how things go moving forward. But thanks for jumping on, guys. Thanks for joining me. I will most likely see you all next week. I don't think we're going to end up having that class. So if for some reason we do, I will let you all know as soon as I know. But right now I'm planning on being online next week, and we'll do some more discussion around solar roadways, and I might try to get something out about that earlier this coming week, just so people can take some time and start providing some feedback on there. So anyway, have a great day, guys. I will see you hopefully next Saturday, and maybe if I get some time, we'll get something pushed up later on this coming week. So have a good day. Thank you again for jumping on. I'll see you guys later.